Hey guys, it is Nia the Vixen of Fiction, and I finally got Loki to go play, so I am going to answer. Cam Wolfe made a video and he asked us to make response videos to it, and so this is mine. And the question was, is wanting a writing career enough? And at first I was like, well, enough for what? Like, what are we talking about? So we get into the video and he explains a little bit about, how he has this full-time job and then, trying to write books. And I think that we can all relate to that feeling of, we've got this to do and that to do. We have the other stuff in our lives that we have to get done because we aren't necessarily full-time writers. And what that entails would be writing. For most of us, I guess it would be, or at least for me, I'll speak for myself, it would be, is my writing sustaining me? So it is my full-time job that I do, and I write, and it pays my bills, and pays the mortgage, it takes care of all of the things, it's covering what I need for retirement. Is wanting this career enough? And I don't know that it is, because there's so many things that go into the reality of that. And, aside from just the fact that it's hard to find time and hard not to feel burnt out and hard not to, feel like I don't know if I'm gonna make any money, I've got to put my focus on these other things, that's hard enough. And writing isn't easy, and I think Cam even said this in his video, that writing is hard. It is so hard. You're trying to create something, usually something from nothing. We get an inspiration and then we're trying to write a few hundred pages of a world and characters and make it come to life, and then hope that someone likes it enough to buy it. And I know that for me, I've never wanted to be famous. The work that I do have out there is under a pen name, and between YouTube and that, I make a tiny trickling of money. I don't know how to market myself, and as an indie writer especially, that is so hard. What is that thing that you need to do in order for your books, your stories, your art, whatever it is that you're creating, to kind of blow up in a way that it can financially sustain you? And I know for me, I've never wanted to be famous, don't want to be famous. Like I said, most of the stuff that I already have out there, I have out under a pen name. I don't need to be known. And when I had my stories on this channel, I did not show my face, so nobody knew who I was. And then I took them all down before I showed up like this on YouTube. And I guess that brings me to another aspect of things. If you are going indie, and I think to some extent now, even if you're tripod, you've really got to be able to put yourself out there, and you've got to be able to market. And if you're on social media, that takes up so much time. It's very time consuming. And I think if you're indie, you've got to do that more, especially if you're not good at marketing. And just because you have friends in the Authortube realm, that doesn't necessarily mean that these are going to translate into book sales. Some writers are also readers. I happen to be one, so if you write a book that's in a genre that I like, there's a good chance I'm gonna buy your book. But not every author on Authortube is like that. They may only read in their genre specifically only enough to help them stay up on what their genre, up on what the genre that they are writing in needs them to do. So they might not be avid readers, people who are just going to buy a bunch of books. And I don't buy a bunch of books. I'll read on Kindle Unlimited or any ebooks. And I also do audiobooks, because my book collection I keep kind of small. So I'm not going to buy every single book, but I do like to read, so it helps if I'm your friend on Authortube, there's a good chance I'm going to buy some variation of your books of whatever you're selling. But that you can't bank on everybody doing that. And even if you do, how many people is that going to be? I think a lot of times it's easier for traditional writers to make the move over to something like YouTube because they already have a following. You've already been traditionally published. You've already got people who are following the books that you've written. So when you start your YouTube or your Instagram or your book talk or whatever it is that you do, you already have a group of followers that will follow you to wherever you want to go. And not everybody likes every platform. You know, sometimes my audience that I have on YouTube is not the same as my audience that I have on Instagram or on Facebook. So I have to do all of this extra work for something that may not even pay off, you know, and it takes time away from my writing to do these other things. But I don't really have any other choice because I'm going to most likely be indie publishing. I don't have any other way of getting my name or my work out there other than to be on social media. And so I've picked the platforms that I like. I really like YouTube because I get to meet people and I love talking about writing and about books and about art and other creative things like journaling. So YouTube is fun. Instagram is also kind of fun, even though I'm not the best at it. I am getting better. I've learned how, you know, I can utilize Instagram in a way that makes it fun for me. I like the creative side of it. TikTok, hard. Twitter scares me. And Twitch is fun, but I don't always have time for Twitch. Well, there are parts of the social media aspect that I really, really love. And then when it gets to the toxic part, I can't stand it. You know, I'm just like, I cringe from it. I don't want anything to do with it. And I know that there's easier ways that I can make money off of YouTube. I could just make the kind of videos that everybody wants to see. I could leave the little niche of Authortube and BookTube. I could leave that and go make other types of videos. And, you know, there's just no reason for me to do that other than to get a bunch of clicks and a bunch of subscribers maybe, but then those people that are subscribing to you want negative stuff all the time, which would absolutely drive me nuts. I would be so depressed. It's just not in my personality. I wouldn't be able to handle all of that negativity. So I don't do that. I need positive things in my life. I like positive reinforcement and I like to put positivity out there. It's just my style. So I don't expect that my videos are going to blow up. I don't expect that my YouTube channel is going to blow up. And I don't expect that I'm going to have just a flock of people following me all over the place. I don't look like what the algorithms want to promote in this area. And I don't really know any indie authors that look like me that have blown up. I know some people who went trad pub who are on YouTube who are people of color who've done well. That is what it is. So I don't expect that I'm going to be making tons and tons of money off of YouTube. I don't know that I'm going to get tons and tons of followers from YouTube that are also going to be interested in whatever artwork I'm working on or whatever book I'm writing or anything like that. So I don't have any illusions about that. And I don't believe, unless something happens, and it's always possible that something happens, something that I write might, you know, blow up and you know, but aside from that, that 1 in 10 million chance that something I write or work on blows up, I'm not going to probably be able to make enough to support myself. But I'm a fitness instructor. I've been a stay-at-home mom for, you know, the last 20 plus years. And that was a choice that I made. So I'm starting in the game really, really late. And I like to write. I've always liked to write. So that wasn't the problem. But I don't know how to write a book necessarily. I know how to entertain. in a story, and they're not the same things. I also know how to tell a story very well, but it's not the same thing as being able to, you know, really put a book together or put a series together. So I don't know that that's ever going to happen to me, and I have watched a few people's videos, and a lot of it's marketing, marketing, marketing. They tell you that, you know, a bad book can sell if it's marketed right. Doesn't mean people will love it, but if it's marketed, people are going to buy it and then find out that they don't like it, I guess, or feel like on the fence, but they've already bought it at that point. And a good book may never see the light of day if you don't know how to market it. So I feel like I've got so much to learn just to even eke up to anywhere where I could even pull in any reasonable amount of money. And you know, I have no regrets about starting this career late in life. I have enjoyed being a part-time fitness instructor. I enjoyed very much being a full-time stay-at-home mom. It was great, and my last kid is going to be out of the house soon. So, and I have physical limitations that have let me know very clearly that I'm not going to be able to do this whole fitness thing for very much longer. So I really do need to find another way to make some kind of money. Alexa Dunn was talking in her video about the realities of the finances and how much people actually make. And, you know, most people aren't going to make enough to support themselves fully just from writing books. Some will, and it also depends on your lifestyle. You know, if you're, you know, very minimalist in your lifestyle, maybe, you know, maybe writing a couple books a year and having a couple $1,000s roll in every couple of months is fine, and you'll be able to sustain yourself on that. But for a lot of people, that's not reality. We're not going to be able to live off of whatever our book sales are. You know, you hear that some people are only getting sign-on bonuses of like maybe $5,000. Like, how long is that gonna realistically last you? You know, if you're trying to take care of yourself and pay all your bills. So if that's the case, and that's going trad club, that's not going to sustain me. And then you have to sell a certain amount before you start earning royalties. So there's so much that goes into it, and I just really think that as a hobby, 100%, you know, wanting to do it is enough as a hobby. As a career that's going to sustain you, to be able to support your lifestyle so that you can live, have a savings so that you can retire one day. I don't know. It will happen for some people, but I feel like it's going to be the very few, and I'm not going to have any illusions that that's going to happen for me, as nice as that would be. Especially when the catch-22 of being an indie author, people already have these kind of negative connotations that go along with being an indie author. I was in the chat for a writing stream, and one of the people hosting, it was Carol Black, said that being on Authortube itself carries negative connotations, like that people see that as a strike against you if you're on Authortube. And I'm like, oh great. So it's already difficult to market, it's already difficult to get yourself out there, and you write something and people are like, oh, it's an indie, so already they're thinking down on it. And then they're like, oh, that person does Authortube, another strike against them. So, but if you don't get yourself out there, what are you going to do? There's so many things that make it incredibly challenging, especially if you want to be an indie author. And I just, as much as I would love to be able to make a living out of this, I've never wanted to be famous. Fame has nothing to do with it. I think I said that before because I'm getting a little bit rambly and chatty. But if it happened, it happened. I would still want to be as anonymous as possible, or, you know, not as anonymous as possible, but I just don't want to be like out there like that. I would like to just keep my quiet life. I like it is. So I would want to stay that way, but, you know, I wouldn't turn down a big contract if it happened. That would be so cool. But It's not what I need. I just want my work out there. It would be, I just want my work out there. It would be nice to be able to make some money from it. At this point, I don't need it to sustain me right now. That could always change in the blink of an eye. Like I said, right now, my husband is the breadwinner in the family, but if something happened to him, you know, I would definitely like have to figure things out. It would not be easy. It would be incredibly difficult, especially after putting a real career or anything like that on hold for over 2 decades. And starting over in your 40s would just be like, it would be so hard. So at that point, I would probably have to give up writing altogether, because I would need to go to work full-time at a job that would, you know, sustain my lifestyle for me and my daughter, the last kid I have at the house. So hopefully nothing bad ever happens and I don't have to worry about that. But even my husband won't be able to work for forever. You know, the job that I have that is very part-time is exhausting. It is exhausting being a fitness instructor. I put so much work into it before I teach my classes, and then when I teach my classes, I'm exerting so much energy and giving so much of myself that sometimes I feel like completely wiped out afterwards. So it's hard. It's a hard part-time job, even though I truly enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I wish I could do that forever. I'm not going to be able to. In fact, I'm going to have to stop doing it sooner than I would have liked to. And I don't know if I'm going to need to find another part-time job once that happens. So all of these things are pulling me away from the one thing that I really want to do. I really want to write, and I really want to create. And wanting it, want, you heard me say, I want, doesn't mean I'm going to be able to do those things. So here's hoping that I can at some point at least make enough to supplement my income to where I wouldn't have to completely rearrange my life or have to give it up. So that's one thing. I definitely don't want to give it up. I love reading. I love creating. I love writing. It's so much joy. I wish I could devote more of my time to writing, but most of the time I feel like I'm giving as much as I can as I'm learning all of the other things that I need to learn to be a better writer, and to learn to market myself, and to put myself out there, and to do all of the things to, you know, start drawing in an audience. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. Anyway, this is a subject that I do want to talk about on Authortubers React, so we will have this as a topic when we do it at the end of June. So I'm already getting fidgety. I've been sitting too long, guys. I have a hard time sitting still. So I look forward to talking about this with everybody and seeing where everybody else stands, what they expect out of this whole writing thing, you know, that we're trying to do, or other creatives, because we've got some journalers and some artists in this community, and so I'm curious to see what everybody else thinks. Or, you know, are they banking on YouTube being it, and if they write something, they write something. If they don't, they don't. You know, there's some people on here and they get onto YouTube and decide, you know what, YouTube is the thing for me. That is not me. I love doing YouTube, but I'm not gonna, I don't think I'm positioning myself on YouTube to get the number of subscribers that it takes to have any type of actual career at it. And I don't know if I could handle that. That'd be so much. Anyway, we're gonna leave it at that. If you like to, you can like and subscribe. Hit the like button down there. Leave a comment down below. If you haven't seen Cam's video, I'm gonna try and link it on here so that you can go check it out and, you know, respond to it directly. Let me know what you think. What do you consider, you know, it being enough for you as a writer, you know, and is wanting it enough? Is wanting to be a writer enough? To what degree you feel that you want it? Let me know. I'm very curious, and thank you guys for watching, and we will be back next time. See ya.